There's a famous saying in the recovery space that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, but rather the opposite of addiction is the community and connection that we build in our path and in our journey to sobriety and freedom. And for anybody that's ever struggled with any type of addictive behavior, maybe it's with pornography, maybe it's with drugs, maybe it's with alcohol, maybe it's with gambling or shopping. Anybody that has ever gone down the path of struggling and finding freedom knows that they cannot and will not accomplish this by themselves. So, in today's episode of the Rebuilt Man, guys, I'm going to share with you the three types of accountability that you're going to need in your journey to breaking free from the chains of this addiction and going on to become a man that is 100% porn free, guys. Before we do that, guys, if you're new here, first off, I want to take a moment to thank you for joining us here at the Rebuilt Man. My name is Coach Frank. And we are here to give you the tools, the tactics, and strategies to become the man that can overcome his addiction and go on to live a 100% porn-free life. And you're getting value out of these episodes, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe, turn those post notifications on. But if you're listening on the audio side, you can support this show in one of two ways. First off, pause right now or after listening to today's episode. Make sure to head over, whether you're listening on Apple or Spotify, and leave us that 5-star rating and written review. But more importantly, somebody in your life that is struggling with the topics that we're discussing here today, do us the favor and do them the blessing by sharing this conversation with them, guys. But three types of accountability. The three people in your journey, in your recovery, that are going to hold you accountable. They're going to keep you locked into the pathway to the journey and making sure that you're executing upon what needs to be done in order to break free from the chains of this addiction. The first accountability person that you are going to need, the first type of accountability will be self-accountability. Do you do an effective job of holding yourself to the standards and the things that you say you're going to execute upon? Okay, this requires discipline, this requires integrity, and this requires follow through. But if you lack self-accountability, you will never find freedom, you will never break through, and you will always find yourself caught up in the relapse recovery cycle. Because without self-accountability, something will happen in your life. You will find yourself in a moment of desperation. You'll find yourself in a moment of struggle and challenge, and you will not continue to do the things that are difficult and challenging. You'll find yourself finding the pathway of least resistance. And the pathway to least resistance is the pathway that keeps you shackled to a life of mediocrity. So if you struggle with self-accountability, guys, you will struggle finding freedom. So figure out what it is that it takes for you to build this in your life. What areas of disciplines and motivations and integrity are you lacking, and figure out how to acquire those skills and traits within yourself, because without self-accountability, brother, you'll never find true freedom. Now, the second type of accountability can actually be a fundamental role and be a very big part of you developing the self-accountability. And that's having a level of expert accountability. This comes in the form of a coach, a therapist, a pastor, somebody that is a professional in their space and is a professional at walking others through a life of transformational change. Okay. If it's struggling with honoring and keeping your word, do you need to speak with people on a regular basis to hold you accountable? And in doing so, by them holding you accountable, you then begin to hold yourself more accountable here as well. So I think the first two kind of interject with each other and they play a role in developing of two. But if you lack self-accountability, you don't have any expert accountability, then who's keeping you to the things that you say you're going to do? Nobody. Okay. And without somebody holding you accountable, brother, you're just going to continue to spiral out of control, and you will continue to do the things that are putting you in the situation that you're in right now. So you have to have some level of self accountability. And one of the quickest ways to develop that is by getting in some type of professional group. Okay. This can be a men's group. This can be a church group. It can be weekly meetings with your pastor. It can be hiring a coach. It can be hiring a mentor. It can be hiring a therapist. But somebody that understands the journey that you're on and sees it from the outside can help point gaps and holes out in your level of thinking and in your way of acting, guys. So expert accountability. And the third one is the one that oftentimes we forget about getting in our life, and that's the peer accountability. And I shared a few episodes back the three pillars of recovery, and it's having a proven system, it's having real accountability, and it's having a support system. And I think that support system is the peer accountability that we need. Knowing that there's other people in the world that are walking the same journey that we are on right now, whether it's breaking the chains of a pornography addiction, whether it's going through a physical transformation, whether it's launching our first business, whether it's working on our relationships, there are people just like you that are walking that same walk right now. And collectively, 1+1 = 3. Okay. So by getting these people in your life, you are uplifted, you're motivated, you're inspired, but more importantly, you're held accountable because Bobby is over there doing his thing. And I don't want to show up to Bobby next week and tell him I didn't follow through and execute on the things that I said I'm going to do, because that's going to make me look like a liar. And I'm going to let Bobby down. If I let Bobby down, he's not going to want to be my friend anymore. But if he doesn't want to be my friend anymore, then I'm going to be isolated again. And then if I'm isolated again, then I'm going to be caught up in the same exact situation that I am right now. So get yourself some peer-to-peer accountability. Here at Rebuilt Recovery, this comes in the form of our Brotherhood Redefined. You know, I hear from men every single week that show up on our weekly calls. And you're like, Frank, these calls, these brothers, these connections, this networking, this community is something that I didn't realize I was missing. But the minute you showed it to me, I realized how important it is for my life. I have multiple groups that I'm involved in. I have multiple men that speak into me that are my peers. Now I have experts as well. I do have experts that coach me, that guide me in many areas of my life. But I got to tell you, I get more out of my brothers than I do sometimes out of those experts that I pay top dollar to coach me. So you have to have peers. You have to have guys that you're walking life with and doing life with. So self-accountability, expert accountability, peer-to-peer accountability. If you're missing any one of these three, you have a hole in your recovery plan, and the chances of you truly succeeding, breaking the chains of this addiction, and actually going on to create a porn-free life are not going to be impossible, but they're going to be more difficult for you as well. So find out which area that you're struggling in right now. And if you want some help getting clear on a vision for your life, okay, who can you become and what can you accomplish if you were able to break the chains of this addiction? What we've done is put together free training, the 5 steps to getting clear on who you can become and a life that you can create without pornography, guys. So if you visit rebuiltrecovery.com/vision, or click the link down there in the description box on YouTube or down there in the show notes on the audio side, rebuiltrecovery.com/vision. Take you guys to the training and you'll have access to it right away, guys. But Coach Frank Rich here, guys. We are embarking and we are in the first week of a new year. Make this year the year that you take back control of your life and become the man that God has called you to be. And we're looking forward to walking that journey with you guys. But God bless you guys. Coach Frank, the Rebuilt Man Show. We love you. And we'll see you next week.